Hey guys, it is time for another Q&A. I know the last one I wanted to try and cut down the time a little bit, and just the way that the video ended up, it still ended up kind of long. I mean, it was over 20 minutes, so I want to try and cut it down a little bit more and just try and make more of them and try and space them out a little bit. So I'm going to be doing 5 questions per video on the next couple videos because I got about 20 questions, and see where it goes. So these were all from Instagram, by the way. Everything else I had either answered or had just came after and might have been on YouTube or Facebook or whatever. But here we go. You know, I don't really think much about record labels as a whole. I mean, I certainly don't have a favorite. The only one that really sticks out for me as having a lot of bands that I like would be Hopeless Records. And, you know, frankly, I don't even know which bands I like are still on there. I know Bayside is or was. Newfound Glory, I'm pretty sure still is, but, you know, I haven't really been listening to them much lately. And for those who are going to ask, I know they're going to ask, the new song's okay. You know, it's not that bad. Yeah, so a lot of the bands I liked went to that record label, but I was really opposed to them, and I still kind of am, just because I couldn't do any sort of interpretation of a cover or anything like that because they would just remove the video from YouTube and cause copyright strikes, and I'm not about that shit. You know, it's just not necessary. You know, I thought it was kind of low. You know, so I'm not a big fan of them. And they're certainly not my favorite, but, you know, they have a lot of bands that I'm into anyway. Next question. People have suggested tiny moving parts a decent amount recently anyway. Maybe even a while ago. It's hard to remember after all these questions. But I listened to him just for the hell of it, just because he asked a question. And musically, it's okay. You know, it's not bad, but the singer sucks. I don't think he can sing at all, and that's a huge turn off for me. And personally, it's not worth listening to. In my opinion, you know, I just don't really like the singer, and if I'm going to be listening to this guy poorly yell his lyrics, you know, for 3 minutes at a time, it's just not really doing it for me. You know, I'm not saying I can sing, but I don't think he can sing either, so that's about it. Next question. Well, as I'm sure a lot of you know, I've been avid users of all 3 of these brands, and they all have their pluses and minuses. But if I had to pick one, say I got, you know, just a sum of money, if I could choose to buy something from one of them, 100% it was going to be PRS. They make amazing instruments, and I still wouldn't mind getting another one. You know, I did recently trade my blue PRS, which was a stunning guitar, but I was looking for something a little different, and, you know, I am happy I got the Strandberg out of it. But it was an amazing guitar, and just because I love Strandberg so much does not mean I dislike PRS at all. You know, I love PRS. I love their whole line, and I'm sure I'm going to get another one someday. You know, I was at Guitar Center just yesterday when I ended up picking this up, and I played a couple PRSs that both played great, and you know, it's only a matter of time before I go spending money on them again. That being said, you know, I do still really like Fender. I also have been considering picking up a Fender Precision bass, or at least, you know, messing around with the bass that I have, maybe altering it a little bit. I don't know. But, you know, Fender does a lot of great stuff. It's really easy to mod too. You know, I like getting Fender stuff just to mess around with. and all their stuff is pretty good quality. So I can't really shake a stick at that. When it comes to Gibson, I was a huge Gibson fan for a long time, and I still do have the ES335 over here, but their quality just isn't there anymore. And I certainly watch their lines when they come up every year, like the changes to their Les Pauls, their SGs, their Explorers, etc. And the things I've just been seeing over the past like 5 years just put me off. I just don't like the things that they've been doing. I don't like them as a company lately, and that's not to say that there aren't some fantastic Gibsons out there, but I highly doubt I'd ever go into a store and just pick up a new Gibson and take it home with me. I highly doubt that will ever happen again. That being said, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in my life I don't go, I want to pick up a nice Les Paul, and I search on eBay or Reverb or something, and I pick up a nice used one, maybe from like the 80s or 90s, back when the quality was better, and back when there's less chance of getting something that's just a dud. I've played quite a few Gibsons that just didn't really feel that great. They didn't have it. They certainly didn't have the quality that a Paul Reed Smith of the same value had, or a Fender. There's just little issues that I see on these things all the time, and I'm not about to give them my money when they don't necessarily deserve it. So, yeah, PRS would win. Next question. This is a good question. To be completely honest, since I bought my Friedman Run, which is the 20-watt version, by the way, it hasn't gotten a ton of playtime. I certainly could have used it on the new album that I wrote, but the Axe Effects that I've been using has just really taken a front seat to my tones, and I did try out the cab simulator and everything with the Run, and it did sound good. I do plan on using it for some stuff in the future. I just figured I'd rather have everything from the same source. I didn't want to have some stuff with my Axe Effects, some stuff with the Friedman. I don't know. It just seemed easier. But it is a great sounding amp, and I'm definitely going to find more use for it soon. I'm using the Axe Effects more just because it's easier to get a good tone at a really low volume. I got neighbors underneath me, I got neighbors over there, and I don't want to be that guy that's just always jamming out, super loud. I try to be considerate of them. So yeah, it is a great amp. I don't know if it's exactly worth the amount of money I paid. I mean, they're expensive. Let me tell you, they are very expensive. I think I paid like $1,200 just for that little head, and that's the cheapest thing they've got. They do have a couple others that are right at that same price point, but yeah, it's expensive. I mean, you could definitely get like a cheaper amp that has a good clean channel, and then get maybe like their BE overdrive pedal. I've heard some great sounds out of that. But I was looking for just a nice low watt, good tone amp, whether it was clean or dirty or anything. I was looking for just a nice amp to replace my old Mesa Electrodyne, which was too damn loud. I could not use that at home at all. This I can still use, not so much late at night or anything like that, but I could play it during the day and not really bug anybody. It's not as heavy sounding as I was expecting, so depending on what guitar you're using or anything like that, it can definitely benefit from using like an overdrive or something to push it a little bit more. But I haven't really done much in that aspect yet. But it's a really great amp because it really shows off your guitar's tone. Like, there's some amps you plug into, it's pretty much going to sound the same no matter what you're playing through it. And something like this, that's just a really nice, it really accentuates each guitar differently. Like, if I put my $4,000 Strandberg through that, it's going to sound completely different than my $2,000 Strandberg that have completely different pickups, because it just sounds different for each one. You know, it's not really going to seem like they're both in the same ballpark. Or if I put my 335 in there, it's going to sound different again. You know, it really plays to the strengths of each one. Some people might like that, some people might not. You know, some people want to have the same tone no matter what they're playing. But I really do dig that it treats each guitar, you know, differently, and it definitely is unique. You know, I think it's a great amp. Getting back to the original question, is it worth the money? To some people, yeah. To some people, no. I mean, I think it was a good purchase. I don't plan on getting rid of it. I just haven't really had the time to sit down and, what's the word I'm thinking of? Haven't really gotten the most out of it yet. You know, it's still, you know, kind of sitting on the back burner right now, but it'll get more use soon. Final question. A lot of people do go on my older videos where I have the dual rectifier, which is a Mesa Boogie amp for those who might not know, and comment saying that this was the best sound that I had on video. And, you know, I know a lot of people liked it. You know, I was very happy with it when I first got it, but the more and more that I used it and the more I experimented with other sounds, the less and less happy I was with it. You know, it was a great sound for, you know, that heavy, thick tone. Excuse me. But it didn't have much else other than that. I didn't really like the crunchy sort of tone, you know, the not so high gain. I didn't really care for the cleans all that much. It wasn't, I wouldn't call it a one-trick pony, but it was pretty close. And, you know, it was always going to sound like a rectifier, you know. It was a little special because it was the Roadster version, which was a little bit more higher end. It had an extra channel to it, and a lot of people say that it's a little darker than your average dual rectifier, which I can't really comment on. I've never had a regular one, but it was a great sound. But, you know, I'm not really looking for that sort of sound anymore, and so I certainly don't miss it. I do like the Friedman stuff. I wouldn't mind someday getting a Soldano. A lot of the tones that I use from my Axe effects are either Friedman tones or Soldano tones. So that'd be cool to try one of those out. I've never actually sat and played through one, so that would be really cool. But yeah, I love Mesa Boogie. You know, they're still great products. You know, don't be surprised if I pick up a Mesa Boogie product, you know, sometime in the future. You know, they're great stuff. And there's a reason why I've had, you know, four or five Mesa Boogie amps since I started playing. You know, they're great quality, and, you know, they're fun to play. So that's about it for this video. I'll be doing some more, like I said, for the other questions. If you got any other questions, you know, you want me to just answer, you know, comment below, feel free to leave me a comment, and I will get back to you. And see you next time.